Access to capital is an essential part of doing business. Research conducted by Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York is showing that over $1.7 trillion is available among private equity investors in dry powder. Now, in spite of this, we're seeing micro, small, medium, and large-scale businesses across the world continue to struggle to raise capital to invest in the growth, diversification, and the scale-up of their brands. The private equity investors, they are thinking cash flow and they are thinking risk control. And if you're able to put yourself in that position of strength to be able to speak to these two issues, cash flow and risk control, you may be very surprised to see how quickly you can access equity capital market when your brands are positioned in front of the right private equity investors. I want to encourage you to join me on this journey as we continue to do a deep dive into best practices to access the capital market. In this program, we will continue to look at the credit capital market, the debt capital market, equity capital market, and smart capital market. Join me as we explore the world of finance. Be blessed and see you soon. In the branding and marketing industry, I have seen a whole lot. I have seen great business ideas under a fair degree of business leadership simply fall off the market. Why? Because many of the brand leaders did not have the disposable income to invest in brand visibility. So yes, you had an excellent brand traits, but to bring attention to that brand, you just did not have the kind of capital to ensure that you enhance the brand visibility to reach and impact the potential customer, where you can now convert first-time users into lifetime customers and move right through that channel where you're building confidence, trust, and credibility in the brand. Disposable income prevents you from achieving that. Today, I will be discussing the importance of brand visibility. And I want you to stick with me until the end of this program, because at the end of this program, I will be giving you small businesses, micro businesses, medium-sized businesses, an outlet that you can use to ensure that you get in brand visibility at the lowest cost possible. So stick with me as we do a deep dive into strategic approaches that you can use to compete and win at a global scale. In the event that you're joining me for the first time, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Codes and Managers Toolkit. I'm also the author for 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, and of course today the content of information that I will be presenting to you, they're all extract from that new book. So I begin today by reflecting on a topic we started yesterday. Yesterday we started to look at the System Value Proposition 101. Today's part 2 to that. What we looked at yesterday is the brand trace optimization. We looked at all that you need to do to ensure that you, in building out your corporate culture, in building out your value proposition, and building out your brand intention value to it, that you really ask yourself all of the important questions that will allow you to make the larger than life impact on your workforce, your target market, the general public, and the cash flowing potential of the organization. That is rung zero. Today, we're going to come to step 2. And this has everything to do with the steps that you can take to bring visibility to your brand. So our topic today is brand visibility blueprint. Under this topic, we're going to be covering 4 headings. 1, we will be looking at market research and market intelligence. How important is this? This is absolutely necessary throughout the entire life of the organization. We will also be looking at the advertising copywriter and the messaging content. So the advertising copywriter and the messaging content, these are, again, a very important knowledge base, subject matter expert that you need to work with when you are trying to optimize the visibility of your brand. The third area that we're going to be looking at today is the communication channel and the media effectiveness. And we will go deep into this to ensure that you have at least a clear idea of why you need to focus on these things as you begin to identify annual budgetary allocation of funds to help in your brand visibility. Last but not least, we will cover the cost associated with branding and marketing. And of course, as I said, I will also be presenting to you what we at 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York and Global Capital Inc. will be doing for you, can do for you, to bring down the cost of branding and marketing for you and ensure that you are getting your advertising content built out and it's being funneled to selective media outlets. So stick with me today as we go through this. Now, again, if you're joining me for the first time, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Press that notification bell so you will be the first to get this information that we will bring into you on a daily basis. This program comes to you with the kind compliments of Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York. Just a little backdrop on these 2 companies. Global Capital Inc. specializes in looking at financial markets. So, for example, we work with critical data relating to the debt capital market, the equity capital market, the credit capital market, and the smart capital market. And in working with our clients, what we do, we help you to understand the portfolios, the financial portfolios that exist in these capital markets. We help you to understand how to access these capital markets, how to up-level these capital markets or leverage these capital markets, and last but not least, how to mitigate debt. In most cases, when you're looking for investment capital, you know that you're looking for investment capital. In many cases, when you acquire the investment capital, we are seeing that the debt become a bad debt, meaning that it's not cash flowing above the cost that you're going to be paying for that debt and the principal balance. So it becomes a bad debt. So if you are borrowing from the debt capital market and you are leveraging assets, those assets can come into jeopardy. But when you understand debt mitigation tools, it helps you to safeguard all of these things. And those are some of the expertise that our subject matter experts work with our clients to ensure that you have this kind of information. At the other end, 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, we specialize in doing everything from A to Z in branding and marketing, meaning that we do the market research to help you to understand all the facts that you need to understand in building out your brand to impact the specific target market. And we also help you to build out the advertising and marketing content and help you to position your brand across region and international. So this is close to a one-stop shop in helping you to build out your business, your ideas, and your brand to achieve local, regional, and international relevance. Now, having said that, welcome again to today's program. Today we are looking at the System Value Proposition 101, and I want to angle this conversation in such a way to provide you with information that will allow you to understand how to compete and win in a global market space. Now, one of the first things that we're going to be looking at on our topics today is brand visibility blueprint. So you have a business, you have a brand, you have a product, you have a service. What is the blueprint that you have to bring visibility to your products and your services? And this is absolutely necessary, because if you don't have a visibility game and a visibility game blueprint, you can have an excellent brand like we've seen among many micro and small businesses. They have a top class brand that with the right support, it can quickly build up international relevance. But visibility is not being directed there. So one of the first things that I want you to consider on the visibility is, again, you taking the time to do the market research and gather the market intelligence. This simply means that you want to get enough skin in the game to clearly identify who is your target market. You want to know who is your target market. If you do not understand your target market and you're attempting to build visibility, it can defeat the entire purpose. Now, why is it that you need to know your target market? Here is where you're going to be spending time to understand what are their in terms of advertising language, you want to know the kind of programs that they're looking at on radio, television, what type of newspaper they're reading. You want to invest time to know this. You want to understand what are their those behavioral determinants of demand. What are those economic determinants of demand? These are things that you really want to invest the time, talent, and the resources to ensure that you understand these things. So the first thing that you want to do is to identify your demographic or your target market. And as you identify your target market, you want to spend as much time understanding the economic determinants of demand. Again, as you position a product or a service into the market, it's important for you to recognize that everyone will never be your consumers. All right. Not everyone can buy Mercedes-Benz. While everyone can buy a Toyota, not everyone will buy a Toyota because this reflects this. The predeterminants of this will be dependent on one, the economic determinants of demands, behavioral determinants of demands, or what they're going to call the psychographics. All right. So it's important for you to really take into consideration that as you get out there to build visibility, these are important tenets of market intelligence that you need to be able to be extremely strategic and relevant, on point, and targeted in building out the advertising, copywriting content. I'll talk about that just now. So we're talking about market research and market intelligence. I'm trying to explain to you why we need it. So first, you need to know your target market. Second, you need to spend time to understand their economic determinants of demand. All right, you want to know their disposable income. You want to know, based on their disposable income, what are things that they're going to be having an interest in. You want to know these things for sure. This is where you're going to be throwing all the guess game in branding and marketing and brand visibility out the door. Throw all the guesswork out and put yourself in that position of strength where you have the critical information. Your target market, you want to know how much time they're spending on social media, what content are they looking at. You want to know how many hours how much time they're spending on listening to radio content, what they are listening to. You want to know how much time they're spending looking at television and what are they listening to. This is very, very important to allow you to affect what we call the dashboard of advertising. Define an advertising goal for measure advertising effectiveness. All right. So if you don't know this, if you have a business and you're not taking the time to do this, you could be spending and wasting hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of dollars in the advertising process, because all you do, you produce an ad. All right. You have someone produce an ad that doesn't understand anything about psychographic and behavioral determinants of demands and economic determinants of demand. To take all of those things into consideration in the production, you're going to go into all of that just now. But advertising and brand visibility, marketing and branding, it's a science, it's an art. And you need to have the subject matter expert working with you on this. The more that you know about your target market, it is the better able the advertising copywriters is able to build out the messaging content to best appeal to that target market. So far we're looking at market research, and we have identified 4 important things to look at here. Under market research, we say identify your demographic or your target market. Absolutely necessary, because everyone is not going to be your consumer. All right, you need to know beyond any shadow of doubt your target market and why you're targeted. You identify the economic determinants of demands for that target market, the behavioral determinants of demand of that target market. You understand the psychographic of that target market. That means you're spending time with them, you're doing the primary market research, which is going to be capital intensive. You're extracting reliable secondary data about their needs, wants, and expectations, their dreams and hopes and aspirations. And as you understand these things, you are aligning the business value proposition to deliver on expectations. All right, to deliver, to reach those expectations and possibly go beyond those expectations. All right, so let's look at the second subject matter here, which is the advertising copywriting, advertising copywriters, and the messaging content. Now, you have the researcher, and the researcher, in most cases, all they do, they compile the data and they help to analyze that market intelligence. The advertising copywriter who are building out the messaging content must be able to make sense of the research intelligence. So the advertising copywriter must not just only have the skill set to be able to write an ad, but he must be able to do so objectively and do so in a manner that is relevant to the specific target market. All right, it is absolutely necessary. So here is where your advertising copywriter takes the time to understand the messaging, the historical data of your target market. What are their historical needs and wants and expectations and dreams and hopes and aspirations and lifestyle cultures and social class? Takes the time to understand all of this. And as he sets out to do the advertising copywriting, what comes out in the messaging content, it is able to, first of all, grab the target market attention, pique their interest, arouse their desire, and move them into action. All right. In terms of the advertising copywriter, the messaging content, there are four specific things, four specific outcomes that you want to achieve here. You want to grab the attention from the messaging content. You want to pique the interest. You want to arouse desire. And you want the customer to be moved into action. That means that they are now highly motivated and ready to come to your place of business to do business. All right. So advertising, copywriting content, the messaging content must be designed to achieve this, but you can't achieve this if you don't understand the customer. If you invest the time, the talent, and the resources to really understand the target market, you can now design your messaging content to grab attention, to pique interest, to arouse desire, and to move the customer into action towards your brand. This requires knowledge. It requires a certain skill set to be able to do this. All right. So you need the advertising copywriter to be able to do this. And as I said, at Global Capital Inc., 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, we have those subject matter experts on our hand. Me, myself, I've spent over 20 years in the branding and marketing industry. And I'll be happy to share with you these critical information as you become our client to ensure that you can leverage this kind of information to up-level your brand visibility. All right, up-level your brand visibility. So the third content that we're going to be looking at here today, this is absolutely necessary again, is what we call the communication channel and the media effectiveness. So now you take the time to do the research, so you understand your target market. You have taken the time to attract advertising copywriters that can write excellent messaging content to reach your target market. Now, the third step of this game is that you have to ensure now that that messaging content is being filtered into the right communication channel. Because here again, if the messaging content that is so strategically crafted is placed into the wrong communication channel and media outlet, it can defeat the entire purpose. And again, cause you to lose hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in advertising. All right? You can lose hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in advertising simply because of the fact that your subject matter expert did not take the time to understand the communication channel and the media effectiveness. And let's take, for example, there is something that we call noise in all of the communication channels, unless they're specifically built out with a specific objective. And you have super control over that. We'll talk about that just now. Radio, because of the fact that radio platforms are designed to play different genre of music, we know that not everyone can relate to every genre of music. So you're going to find that when a certain type of music play, it's going to pull in a certain demographic. And when another type play, is going to repel that demographic. How aware are you of this? When a certain content is being discussed, it may attract a certain demographic. And on the other hand, it may repel attention. And remember, the objective of the messaging content is to grab attention, pique interest, arouse desire, move the customer into action. But if you don't understand the media, the communication channel, and the effectiveness of that platform, you don't know if you're grabbing attention. You don't know if you're piquing interest. You don't know if you're arousing desire. You don't know if you're moving the customer into action until perhaps it's too late. All right. So it's important to take the time to understand the communication channel and the media effectiveness. And one of the things to look at is noise. All right. One way to cut through that noise is to understand programming and to understand how specific programming are appealing to your specific demographic. Again, you can only get this kind of information from market research. All right. There may be national census return, which in most developing and middle income economy, when it comes to doing these kind of specific generic market research on the media and the kind of demographic and target market that is aligned to those specific media outlets. From my research, in those developing and middle income economy, we don't have that kind of market research data. Perhaps this is a great opening for perhaps a new business model to start up here, and that information is critical to market research and helping businesses to be more strategic in targeting their ads and placing their ads. And it can save them hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars. They can be more effective in how they place the ad to ensure that they are getting greater effectiveness from the communication channel. So these are important concepts to really look at. So we look at the noise in those communication channels. You need to know it. You need to really spend time to understand the communication channel. Perhaps you may have to do some independent surveys to recognize, well, once you identify your target market and you have them in a particular cluster, you can prepare surveys to now identify what are some of those programs that they look at on specific channels. These are things that can be done. If you need help in those areas, I want to encourage you to reach out to us, Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York. We have over 20 years in experience. The combined knowledge is over 100 years of experience in this field. All right, of branding and marketing. So to be able to succeed in this particular area, it's hard work. It's smart work. All right, it's hard work and it is smart work, and it requires a certain expertise and to be able to do it. We believe that you can do it, but in the event that you don't have the time to do this, I want to invite you to join us again at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, and we will be willing to help you along this line. Now, taking the time to understand the communication channel and the media effectiveness, it can help you to be more cost effective in how you invest your capital. It can help you to be extremely cost effective. So these are things that it's important for you to take that time to understand. All right, let's go right up back and just bring in a few other issues here. We talk about the noise and some of the information that I've given you, it helps you to understand how to cut across those noise. And the first thing that we say is, among the noise, you need to do a survey to identify your target markets, to identify what they're looking at, what time they're looking at, how long they spend looking at specific programs. And with that kind of information, you can now do more specific advertising targeting. All right, you can even do more specific advertising targeting. What are some other things that you would need to understand about the communication channel and the media effectiveness? So now that you figure out all of that, the timings and how much time your target market spend looking at specific programs or listening to specific programs or looking at social media, you now want to understand the effectiveness. All right, you want to know the geographical reach of those media outlets. All right, you want to know the geographical reach of that media outlet. Of course, this might be subjective because you might just be a small mom and pop shop and you're catering to a small demographic by default, and you're not able to provide products and services to a multitude of people, to the full demographic, but you're just playing. But let us suppose now that you are not just the average player, or you might be small, but you intend to grow big. You intend to reach a larger audience, and you want to base increasing productivity on market demand. Understanding the media reach and leveraging the media reach in that process can be very useful and very helpful. Now, along with this, you can do independent market research. Independent market research. All right, or along with independent market research, you can develop, you can develop independent communication channels. Independent communication channel. Remember earlier we talked about the noise in the communication channel? Of course, the noise can undermine the strategic advertising objective that you have, and that's to raise visibility because of so many different persons are advertising in the market, and so many persons are advertising the same time that you're advertising on the same media platform that you're advertising. It becomes clustered. It becomes a whole lot of noise. So one of the ways in which you cut against the grain of all that noise is to build out your independent communication channel. To do that is hard work, and it requires a certain degree of skill set, but it can serve to your advantage because it is an independent communication channel. Some example of that is you might develop an independent magazine that is specific to the interests of your target market. So there's no noise here. All you do, you produce and you ensure that it gets to the specific target market. All right? These are things for you to consider to cut against the noise in the market. Now, this in the long term could be very cost effective because it is now independent. In the short term, it may cost you some capital to do the legwork, to build up the visibility, to pull all the team together, and all of that. But in the long term, it may help to bring down your cost of advertising. And again, at Global Capital Inc., at 10X Branding and Marketing LLC, out of New York, we are experts in this field, and we can certainly help you along these lines. Building out your independent communication channel will also allow you to build out a strong quality contact list. All right, because it allows you to, you know your target market, you are building out a subscription portfolio. That subscription portfolio allows you to identify your quality contact list. And there's so much of advantage in this. You see, if you put your advertising content into the mass media, it's in the mass media, all right? And yes, with all the noise, you're pulling persons are being pulled left, right, and center. But with your independent communication channel, once you're able to bring it through visibility, reach, impact, conversion, confidence, trust, and credibility, that, all right, that is money in the bank. It's tremendous money in the bank. So these are important concepts for you to really understand when it comes to the brand visibility optimization. Of course, as I said, because of the high cost associated with branding and marketing, brand visibility optimization, many micro, small, and some medium-sized businesses, they struggle with this, all right? At Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC, we want to work with you through this. We want to help you through this process. All right. So stick with me. I'm going to be giving you some critical information here. Now, building out an independent communication channel also allows you to build up customer relation and get quick customer feedback. Because if you really understand how this process works, to build out your communication channel, you can build content into it that allows you to extract customer feedback. And in extracting those customer feedback, that feedback in itself allows you to raise your standard, expand the business growth, innovate new products and services based on some of the new expectations that your target market may have. That again allows you to have the competitive advantage in the market. All right, these are absolutely important information for you to have. And again, if you don't have your subject matter expert in your organization to build out these content, I want to encourage you to reach out to us at 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York. We'll be happy to work with you to provide this content information to you. Now, the last subject that we're going to be looking at under this heading, independent communication platform, is that new customer conversion. This platform can position you to attract new customers and cash flow your organization. All right. All right. So it has all the effects of if you're going to the independent, if you're going to the mass media communication, and so much more. All right, because it gives you better control. You can take out the noise. All right. So these are some strategic things that you can do to bring visibility optimization to your brand. Again, I continue to emphasize that I'm fully aware of the high costs associated with this. And there are many brands out there, strong brand, excellent brand, brands that can become, billion-dollar, brands that stays on the shelf and fall off the shelf, largely because the corporate leader, they are never able to raise the kind of capital. They're never able to build the kind of synergies and partnership that allows them to have that disposable and to invest back into brand visibility. Now, brand visibility is not reach. Tomorrow I'll talk a little bit more about brand reach. We're talking about brand visibility. What we want to do at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, for just $8 per day, $8 per day, we're going to support you to build out your branding and marketing content. All right, your messaging content. And we're going to support you to filter that information into a communication channel. Let me tell you what we want to do for you for just $8 per day. We're going to produce your brochure that explain your value proposition. So you can position your value proposition in front of your target market through your brochure. We're going to do that for you. We have the expertise. We want to help you. We want to support you. All right. Just $8 a day. We're going to fill out your brochure. But that's not all. We're going to produce your video commercial. All right. We will produce your radio commercial. Just $8 a day. We will produce your television commercial. So we talked about three things so far. We're going to produce your brochure, your corporate brochures. We're going to do your television ad. We're going to do your radio ad. But we're not going to stop here. We're going to produce your ad for press media. We will produce your ad for press media. And all four of these things, we will also provide what we're going to call the social media outlet, a daily social media presence. We will create daily social media presence for you after we create your radio, your television, your newsprint ad, and your brochure. And we're going to put those information there for only $8 per day. We are doing this out of our kind heart. We are doing this because we are humanitarian. We are doing it because we're seeing that businesses has tremendous potential to scale and become a global brand. But you just don't have the kind of enabling environment and the support system to help you to get there. And we are here today to get you there. All right. So again, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in business, I want to encourage you to reach out to us now. Wherever you are in the world, reach out to us right now and let us start working with you to start building out your brand visibility content and start bringing some visibility to your brand to ensure that you're making the impact that you want to make and you can cash flow your business to who you want to cash flow your business. All right. So I'm going to stop here today, but I just want to repeat this. For only $8 per day, we're going to produce your radio ad, your television ad, your press ad. We're going to produce your corporate brochure, and we will filter all of this into what we call the social media platform. We will give you social media presence daily, every single day, from Monday to Sunday. You don't have to worry about that. Our subject matter experts will go to work for you. My name is Gary Thompson, and it has been a pleasure being with you. Today we cover a number of important topics. We continue to look at System Value Proposition 101, and we look today at the brand visibility blueprint, your brand visibility optimization game plan, and under this heading, we look at market research and market intelligence, the importance of this. We look at the advertising copyright and the messaging content, the importance of this. We look at the communication channel and media effectiveness, absolutely necessary. And last but not least, we look at the costs associated with branding and marketing. And of course, we present to you a solution that will help you moving forward to get visibility, to position your brand, your products and your service in front of your audience. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Managers Toolkits and Billionaire Tools. I'm also the author for 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, The Psychology of Doing Business. This is a book that will teach you your brand. This is a book that when it is on the market, you don't want to miss it. All right? Be blessed. See you in the next broadcast. Access to capital is an essential part of doing business. Research conducted by Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York is showing that over $1.7 trillion is available among private equity investors in dry powder. Now, in spite of this, we're seeing micro, small, medium, and large-scale businesses across the world continue to struggle to raise capital to invest in the growth, diversification, and the scale-up of their brands. The private equity investors, they are thinking cash flow and they are thinking risk control. And if you're able to put yourself in that position of strength to be able to speak to these two issues, cash flow and risk control, you may be very surprised to see how quickly you can access equity capital market when your brands are positioned in front of the right private equity investors. I want to encourage you to join me on this journey as we continue to do a deep dive into best practices to access the capital market. In this program, we will continue to look at the credit capital market, the debt capital market, equity capital market, and smart capital market. Join me as we explore the world of finance. Be blessed and see you soon.